Good. Looks like you booked a call about possibly seeing if we could help you with getting some like more advanced sales training. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I guess we could definitely help you out with that. I guess what caused you to feel like you may even need some help in the first place, though?
Well, it's I my situation is I'm an independent consultant, sales consultant. I
Sure.
spent a lot of years in medical diagnostic sales. I sold pharmaceutical packaging
Gotcha.
and other medical diagnostic products, and now
Okay.
after being having those divisions being shut down and being released of duty, if you will, for 3 times in the past, since 22, going back to 2017,
Sure.
5 years, I had roles, significant roles, and then they were all eliminated.
Sure.
So I decided to go on my own, and I'm working with another group that basically what we do is we tee up uh, we cold call and we tee up opportunities for our energy brokerage and our waste operational expense group.
Okay.
Again, I kind of understood that you guys could tee up some sort of a specific program
Yeah,
for me.
we definitely could get into that. It just depends. I don't even know if we could help you just yet, right? Obviously,
Right.
yourself, obviously, you have some things going on in your situation. But like for you, man, like what was the rationale in even wanting to get advanced sales training rather than just doing it on your own and doubling down that way?
Well, that was the other part of it. This call was, telling you that, and maybe I need to do that first, double down, do a little bit more
Sure.
calling, and then maybe we schedule this again in a couple of months.
Yeah, well,
And
you tell me. It's like because at the end of the day, right? It's like going to the gym. In what way will you get better results if you go to the gym? Will you get better results if you do it on your own, trial and error for a couple of years, or will you get better results if you get a personal trainer who gives you specific feedback to what you need?
well, I would think a personal trainer would be a better way to
Right.
maintain
Same,
accountability.
same exact concept. Because do the most successful people learn from their mistakes, or do they learn from other people's mistakes?
I think probably both.
There you
I
go.
mean,
Right. So they don't just learn from their mistakes because that's going to be only one perspective. You're not going to be able to get the other perspectives. So for you, why do you feel like in any realm it'd be beneficial for you to just do it on your own rather than getting training prior to be able to put yourself in a position to get the results that we're needing?
well, just the one part of getting more calls in, which right now I haven't been getting enough calls in to
Well,
really.
if you're cold calling, it's not about calls in, it's more about calls out, right? And the reason,
Well, when I say calls in, me
yeah,
making calls out, right?
yeah, right. So what I mean by that is like the reason in life why we don't do something a lot is because we're not confident in that certain skill. Because if you knew you had a script or framework, something that you would get 80 to 70% of people that you cold called true, you'd probably do a lot more volume of that. But the reason we're not doing that is because we don't have that confidence in that skill. Like, would that be a crazy thing to say, or am I correct?
No, that's a good comment.
Yeah, and the reason I say that, man, is because if you had the right training and you had the right skills, you would do more of it and you would probably get better results rather than doing it the way where you're kind of trial and error, doing it for 3 6 months and doing it that way. Because with life, there's always two ways to get to a destination. It's like, what city are you from right now?
I'm northeast Pennsylvania,
Pennsylvania. There you go.
Wilkes-Barre area.
So it's like if you want to walk to a layer, you want to fly, right? Like obviously we all want to fly, but when you look at it from that perspective, it's like trial and error is like basically walking. But when you walk, especially in sales, and you're not closing people and you're leaving what on the table?
Right,
Money and time.
right.
Do you want to leave money and time on the table though?
No, well, see, the other side of this business that I'm in, which makes it a little unique, is I'm not closing the deals.
Yeah, 100%. You're setting the appointments.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And then, what I've seen is that the people that are closing the deals need this training probably more than I do.
that's probably from you, right? But like, have you gone out there and invested in advanced sales training in the past, or have you actually like gone out there on your own, invested in coaching consulting?
Well, I've reached out and done some stuff on the medical side. There's more control of that process for me
Yeah.
than, I mean, ultimately, I am more involved in the selling process to tee up the close the deal call.
Well, there you go,
And
right? So regardless of what we do, if we get the training in some way or another, it's going to benefit us either in the medical side or the other side, where we're going
right,
to better skills where we can make some money somewhere, right? Which is the
right.
goal. So,
Well, I mean, the only downside of that is that I'm not the one closing the deals.
oh, 100%. We train a lot of SDRs, which is appointment setters who set the appointment for other people. But like, it's not about you just setting the appointment and them having a horrible close rate. It's about you setting the appointment and building a big enough gap in the prospect's mind as well, where when they get on that call, they're actually open to buying. Because setting an appointment, yeah, I could set
Okay.
anybody. I could set anyone if
All
I
right.
call them. How can we set them with a big enough gap where they actually feel like they need the help? That's what we want to help you do. But like you mentioned, you haven't done advanced training in like a couple of years, or you've done something in the medical side a while ago. What's prevented you from like actually going out there and investing in your own advanced sales training?
Probably just I'll just keep plugging along. It's I guess I've never really had exposure to training like what Jeremy has. I mean,
Yeah,
actually, the group that I'm working with on the energy and waste side are the ones that introduced me to Jeremy.
sure. The one thing I would say, it's like saying I didn't find a gym, right? And I'm not saying that to put you down, but it's like when we look for something, we typically find it. So it was that it wasn't a priority, more or less. So what do you feel like caused you to not make sales training a priority?
Well, the change in role to a senior account manager and me knowing the medical space much better than what I do, the waste and energy side, but I've learned a lot more about it in this newer role as a senior account manager. But still, it's you know I didn't the selling part of it was never. I mean, I never looked at the the position setter or the call setter as a real selling. It's not real. It's
Yeah.
not really a selling.
Well, maybe that's your belief system because I used to be an appointment setter. I used to make 10 grand a month, right? Just as an appointment setter. And I became a closer setter to 70 grand a month. The reason I say that, not to brag, but like you can do that. It's just like you have to set up the calls. It is a selling role. Probably the reason why we didn't make it a priority is because that belief system where we didn't believe it was a selling role. But that way of
Right.
thinking where we haven't even invested in training because of that belief system, where has that led us in the past 5 years though?
Not in a real good spot.
There we go, right? And the reason I say that is because only if you keep having this way of thinking and we continue to have this way of thinking, what is going to continue to happen?
If I don't do anything, it's not going to get any better. But if I
Mm.
change it, hopefully will improve. So I mean, that's the reason why I'm here.
But why now though? Because you can kick the can down the road 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, like most people do, and just keep doing it on your own. So why now change?
Probably because of the exposure I had to Jeremy and the encouragement that I got from that to look at this a little deeper. And
Mm.
the other part of it is it's all on me as far as the cost. And I know this isn't free.
Yep.
And that's always been right now I'm in a pretty tough spot as far as the financial side.
Sure.
Um, and my consulting business is not where I want it to be.
That's fair.
And I am looking at this as a possibility to get me to where I need to be. I
Yeah.
mean, the reality is on the medical side, you know, if I close 20 physician offices with our service, and it's kind of a no-brainer for the doc.
Mm.
It's no cost, no capex, don't need staffing. All you need is a small footprint of space,
Yeah.
and the reimbursements come in. We bill you 45 days later, so it's a turnkey system.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I guess one thing you mentioned is that like obviously you're looking at the cost, right? What a lot of people do is look at the cost and they prioritize the money. But it just depends on what way you view money. Because do you view money as a problem or a symptom of our problem?
Money is what was the last one you said?
A problem or a symptom of your problem?
Well, it's probably more of a symptom.
Yeah, because if you have the skills, what's going to come with the skills?
Money,
There you go, right?
success.
So it's like if we don't prioritize fixing the skills, how are we ever going to make more money, have the success that we need to? I don't know if we ever will. The question becomes, what do you feel like you need to have that success? Like, what's the exact training that you feel like you need to get that?
Well, being able to turn someone from, I mean, cold callers are always perceived as negative.
Sure.
I mean, to be able to, disarm, as they
Yep.
as he says, and then reframe and turn it around
Yeah.
with regard, being able to do that with someone may get, instead of one discovery call every couple of weeks, maybe it's 10 discovery calls every couple of weeks,
There you go.
which is, ultimately the goal. And then, now we're looking at more closes potentially. So, I mean, I'm,
100%.
I mean, I'm
So think about it
that
this way,
part,
right? Because when you came into the call and I asked you a very important question, I was like, okay, why not just do it on your own? Why not just do trial and error? You told me, yeah, I could do that, right? Maybe I should do this in a couple months. What did I do? I reframed your way of thinking on that, didn't I?
right.
My job. My job is not to sell people who are coming in here, yeah, I'm training, let me buy. My job is to help you reframe your way of thinking from a no to a yes, right? Because in your mind, it was better to wait than to reframe your way of thinking, and you understood the consequences of you waiting. Now, did I do that by telling you, or did I do that by asking you questions where you answered them and you realized that waiting isn't going to benefit you?
Asking questions.
Yeah. So that's what we want to be able to do, and I want to be able to show you how to do, right? And the reason I say that is because for you, man, like being able to put yourself in a position where not only you learn to scale, you're able to ultimately make the money you want to. You're able to grow the business to a level that you truly want. What does that do for you personally, though, right? I'm just putting more zeros in your bank account.
Well, it gives me more freedom. And, I mean, I'm 64 years old
Sure.
this year. And, I want to build an annuity to carry me through for the next 15, 20 years, because, who knows, by that time I might be taking a dirt nap. So
Yeah.
I want to be able to live and do the things I want to do. I live on a beautiful property here in Northeast PA,
Yeah.
and, it's becoming a little bit more than I can manage. So having a little extra money, I could farm out some of that work. I have 85 acres, and I got hit by a tornado last year, and it dropped over 300 trees.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm cleaning it up by hand,
Yeah.
by myself. So, I mean, I have equipment, but it's, if I could go to a tree company and say, hey, clean up that 5 acres of land for me and get it out of here, I mean, that the financial stability, which is, not there right now,
Yeah.
would be very helpful. And
Well,
then it would,
what would that mean to you having that?
well, it would mean security. It would mean freedom, right?
I guess there's always the other side of the coin, though, right? Because a lot of people don't like to look at this because everyone's at the top of the mountain, they never look at the bottom. Which is like, what if not only we don't learn the skills, but this continues? We keep feeling this way. We don't ever get to feel or experience the feeling of what it's like to have that security that we need to. What actually happens then?
Paycheck to paycheck, or, because, I mean, feel like I'm shackled. I
Mm.
mean,
One thing I'll say to you is like a lot of people settle for that. So I guess why won't you?
because I don't want to live that way, right? I mean, that's not. I mean, I'm used to having I mean, six-figure salaries,
Mm.
and, I've grown accustomed to that over the past 20 years.
Right.
So, you know, not that I was making, 70 grand a month like you were,
Mm.
which is awesome. I congratulate you on that.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I'd like to learn how to do that.
Well, you
But
will. Like a lot of people feel like, oh, it's been. I've been doing NEPQ, working with Jeremy for a year. It isn't something. It took a year to learn. Now I'm able to change my life. I was doing 5 grand a month last 2023, and then 2024 I did 800 grand that year. And it's not to brag. It's just the results that you can get
yeah,
once you have the skills, you put in the time, and you actually do the things necessary. So I guess do you actually feel like it's time for a change now?
well, I think that if I had the skill set, getting 20 physician office practices and getting to that, six, $700,000 a year income,
Yeah.
uh, repeatable, and then, it's like, okay, well, do I want to keep going, or, do I just cruise from here and keep these accounts open?
Yeah.
My goal is to get 10. That's my goal right now. I want to hit 10 physician office practices so that I can that gets me to, 300-hour gross income.
Yeah.
Tax probably be, obviously less, but,
Yeah.
it's a start in the right direction, and then it'll build momentum, and confidence will help accelerate that too. That'll be the fuel of that. So
Okay. Well, look, man, I definitely feel like we can help you. Do you have pen, paper, anything you could write on?
I do.
Okay, amazing. If you could write down one thing for me, which is going to be the NEPQ Pro version, if you could write that down. What I want you to write once you've written that down is the funding that's going to be required for that program, which is 9,800. If you could write that down, 9,800. Do you feel like that structure in particular, with the group coaching, the one-on-one, and the portal, could actually help you get to where you need to be, or how do you feel?
Well, I would think it would. Yeah. I mean, just the day-to-day interaction, the coaching, the keep having someone say, "Hey, Jim, you said you wanted to get to this point. You're not hitting this," or,
Yeah.
that kind of structure would definitely help, I would think.
Okay, 100%. Well, yeah, it's very simple steps from here. What we do is we give you access to the portal. We book an onboarding call with your client success manager, where he creates that plan for you, and then we go from there. In terms of proceeding, I guess, how would you like to proceed from here?
Well, what's the next step?
Next step is we'll deal with payment, get that rock and rolling. Just depends on how you would like to pay for it.
Is that the best price that's available? The only price?
I can do more if you want to, if that helps you.
I need to make that decision right now.
You don't have to, but it's the same thing with our prospects. I guess what would be behind that?
Where I'm going to pull that money from. I
Okay,
don't have it. I don't have it in cash right now. I got to pull it from something.
that's
So
fair. Would it be like so? If I helped you with breaking down the investment, would that help you moving forward here today?
might.
Okay, cool.
All right. So just go through this and pick. I mean, I could do the 816 and
Perfect.
then ultimately pay it off.
Yeah, so there's no early payment fees. It's zero interest as well. So like no early payment fees. It's no interest, same price, nothing changes. 816. And then you can do that there on your end. While you're doing that, I'm gonna set up some onboarding stuff for you on my end. So I got an email to send you, I got a couple onboarding things to send you, and I'll start setting that up for you now. So you said the 816 is the one you're gonna go with, just so I can have that in the system.
Yeah. I just clicked it.
Cool. Okay.
Let's see. Your purchase is on the way.
Okay. Cool. Second.